I saw where the lottery, at least at the time that I'm speaking, has worked its way up to $1.8 billion. That's a lot. It's so much you wonder, should I?
Absolutely.
That's how they get you. You know, growing up my entire life, I knew people who played the lottery. And I don't know if I know any winners. I just know a few people went missing. And like hard missing too, not even a funeral. Like, I don't know, $1.8 billion. That means even after they tax you, tax is gonna take about half of that, right? Even after they tax you, you're probably gonna be a billionaire. That's instantly a billionaire. And I'm not saying this to like, you know, beat down on anybody or be disparaging, but it's like, who plays the lottery? People who need the money. So imagine needing money and then becoming a billionaire in like a day. A day. You needed 252. You had rent and a car note, and now you're a billionaire. A billionaire. You gotta capitalize it's $1 billion. Even if they get you real good, even if they tax you to death, you're still high millionaire. And with some good investments, you'll hit billionaire over time. Look at. I don't think y'all understand. This is the thing, we think we understand what billion is because billionaires keep playing in our faces. But we have no comprehension of how much money that is because we're people. Forget multiple, a billion. You can't even waste that, $1 billion. You can imagine. Oh, I had some bad investments. $1 billion's worth of bad investments? That's enough to topple a small country. No, because I look at the billionaires of the world and the high millionaires, so almost billionaires of the world. And in a couple of the examples that I'm thinking of, right? If you make it to billionaire status, whether it's through valuation of your country or your company, or whether it's through valuation of your company or just general assets and everything over time, if you hit that billion status and you didn't grow up with a ton of money, like if you're already a billionaire, it almost doesn't count. You know, you'll see billionaires, they're the sons of billionaires, and they'll be like, I made my own thing. It's like, you didn't though. But you didn't. Like you never really did anything. Like it's, and look, I know you probably worked really hard, but your hard work had a $1 billion head start to it. So it's just, you know, you could make a bad idea worth $1 billion. If you put enough money behind it with enough time. Look at Crocs. And look, that's not me. No, look, that's not me just dunking on Crocs for the sake of it. I'm saying as a shoe, you are so unprepared to go into the world. Every time it rains, you kind of feel it. I've had so many fights with my friends over Crocs, and it's not about the Croc or the design or whatever. It's about the fact that it's a Swiss cheese shoe. The holes make it a shoe problem. It is not like okay, I live in New York, and we have far too many. I don't even know the number. We have more, I believe, rats than people. I'm pretty sure there's probably 10 million for every 2 people in New York. And one time I was walking with my friend who had Crocs on. Ill-advised, especially in New York. If you want to wear Crocs in like, I don't know, like a beachy town, go ahead. Yeah, be comfortable. Let your feet breathe. Wearing Crocs in New York City, wearing Crocs in New York City is like wearing a shirt that on the front and the back says, "Please rob me." That's the level of prepared you are to go out into New York City when you're in Crocs. My friend was in Crocs, and we were just walking down the street, okay? Just nice little stroll, having a conversation. And then, as you would expect when you are walking in New York, as it is almost law when you are walking in New York, a rat ran across our path. Some people have to deal with deers in the road. We have to deal with rats on the street. And this rat running across our path judged it wrong. Was a little late. You know, usually when you're walking in New York, a rat will run across you real fast up ahead. This rat must have had some hesitation. You could tell this rat was like, okay. You know what? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. No. I'm not going to do it. Actually, no. You know what? I can do this. I can do this. Let me get. Ah! And then it ran across our path, but by the time it ran across our path, we were at our path. And this is upsetting. Sorry if you're eating. But the rat ran across our path, but by the time it decided to cross the sidewalk, we were already there. So this rat ran right over both my feet. And then it came time to run over my friend's feet. My friend in Crocs. And this rat looked exactly like, you know, with football players doing that spring training with the tires over here. The rat was nimble at first. It got through 2 holes, no problem. Third hole, rat tripped. Animals don't trip like people. You know what I mean? People might trip, be a little embarrassed, but we get up and we know we have a day to continue. If a rat gets tripped up in your crock, that's the rat's whole priority right now. Because to be fair to rats, they get trapped all the time. How is this rat supposed to know this isn't one of those rat traps that take you to rat heaven? And so this rat starts freaking out, starts like trying to pull the other leg out and everything, but then the next leg gets stuck. And so now this rat is, it has been 0.0 seconds, by the way. This rat has already tripped and is stuck in 2 crock holes. And is over here fighting for his life to get out. Is doing whatever he can. This rat over here, And look, I'll be honest with you right now, I don't even know if I imagined it, but I swear I heard it. I heard where the rat got free because I heard the little pull the little foot out of the crock hole and then ran away. And then my friend, who had just been defending his Crocs, had the nerve to be like, I'm like, yeah, cut it off. You need to cut it off. ran over my foot too, but look at me. Intact. No? And so you have even if it's not the company, the CEOs of these companies reach high $1 million billionaire status. You know? And it happens usually over time. Usually, if you don't come from money, you reach billionaire status or high millionaire 20, 30 years of your life. And being a psycho as well, like working 80-hour weeks and like just doing crazy stuff. And sometimes you get to get ahead because you cut some corners or you cheat some people or whatever it is. But then when you turn around and you have this like multi-billion-dollar valuation, you did it. And it took all that time, but like you're, 30 years removed from when you started. These billionaires, these millionaires, the ones that don't come from like extreme wealth, takes 20, 30 years of your life to get that money. And look how evil they are. I can only imagine. I can only imagine what happens if you get it in a day. Look, for any amount of lottery winnings and for any amount of like money, when you dream about money, that's what we do. Someone's like, what would you do with $100 million? And you might even have a list already. What would you do? And you think you know what you would do. And I'm not even saying that people are lying when they say these things. I believe that people really believe this is what they would do with the money. But then you're a billionaire in a day. Nothing can prepare you for that. Nothing can prepare you for that much money being that much power in a day. I don't know, like, I know what I'd like to think I would do with that much money. Because the amount of money that you've been living on is the amount of money you need to live. Like that, like, I know that in the US, like in America, that's like blasphemous to say. But it's like, even when I was broke, the amount of money that I had, which was not enough, was somehow still enough because I'm not dead. You know what I mean? And so obviously people need to get by. People deserve a higher quality of life and everything. I'm not saying this to say that if you're barely scraping by, that's all you need and be done with it. I'm just saying that sometimes you can get in your head, especially when you get a little more, that you need a bit more, and then you need a bit more, and then you need a bit more, to the point where people around the country who make six figures say they don't feel rich, right? And some of them making the high six figures. They've done studies about this and about why your brain never turns to rich when it's you and it's over time. You'll see millionaires say, well, I'm comfortable, but I'm not like rich. And then you're glad that it's through a screen, or else you might. But I don't know. I mean, what would that do to a person? A day. A billionaire. Who knows? Maybe money really does change people in a way that you can't even fathom until you have that much money. Maybe you get $1 billion in a day, and out of nowhere, you don't even recognize yourself. $1 billion. And you're just like, wow. Huh. I could use some slaves. I think that... Look, I don't know what makes you so evil as a billionaire over 30 years, but I can only imagine it's exacerbated when it's overnight. Like, I can only imagine it becomes instant when you get the money instantly. That's crazy. Because look, we all have a list. Even if you act like you don't, you do. If you want that much money overnight, you might have a list. There might only be 5 things on your list. Hey, I want to take care of my friends, take care of my family, want to travel, and I want to help in a way that I've been helping, but I didn't have the money to really push the help. right? So that's what, 4, maybe you have 5 things. But then after you do all that, maybe you have some money left over. What do you do with that money? Can you make another list? Can you make a bigger list? Maybe. But if you can't, you just keep trying. Oh, let's fix the roads. Let's try to fix the school system. But then there's still some money left over. What do? I think you might lose your mind. That's probably why billionaires are like that. Because think about it. Look, their list didn't have any of the stuff I mentioned on it. But even though it didn't, it clearly had things that they cared about, whatever those were. And maybe they were only related to their company. Maybe they were only related to more business and getting more money. But even as those things got checked off and you tried to keep up with a list, you tried to make more goals and you were meeting the goals as fast as you were making the goals and everything. And then everyone around you is a yes man because they want some access to that money because they're also trying to climb, right? And then you finally have gone down the list so hard that you're just like, maybe Mars? What about Mars? Mars would be cool, right? Like, Mars would be dope. Does people starve? Mars, though, that would be dope. And it's like, yes, it sounds dope. And I hope he goes. I hope he does. Like, that'd be fire. If he went to Mars, spend your fortune as the richest man in the world to be the poorest man in the universe. Because I guarantee you spend your whole life and then you finally, let's say it finally happens, you have a voyage to Mars. And let's be as generous as possible. And let's say that like the rocket works, you already sent enough stuff there that it's not like quite the movie The Martian, but it is like that because you are going to be by yourself. No, I'm just, probably. And then you land in Mars, richest man in the world. Lands on Mars, gets out, is walking around and realizes that Mars is just like Arizona with some extra tent to it. Like, looking around like, oh, okay. Whoops. Because money is... We'd like to think that it's more than this, and sometimes it is. You can point to points in history where it is more than this, but like America is money. Land of opportunity. Opportunity is access, but it's also money. Money is how we define identity. Maybe you don't as a person. Maybe, I don't believe any one person is just their job or their net worth. There are things that you are that are deeper than all that stuff that's going to pass away. But that is how we as Americans define each other, is money. In fact, when you get your identity stolen, it's because they mess with the money. I don't know of anyone who said they got their identity stolen and it was in a Lifetime movie sort of way. I have yet to meet anybody who said they got their identity stolen and they know it was stolen because they came home and there was a dude who looked just like them hugging their wife. And they were like, honey, it's me. And then she was like, And then the imposter was like, don't listen to him, honey. It's me. Can't you tell? And like, hey, what are you doing in my house? And then the kids run in, and they run up to him. Hey, Dad, who's this stranger? What? Kids, it's me. And they're like, we don't know you. Our dad's been home all day. And then you have to fight with this dude, and then, there's somehow a gun in the house that nobody knew about, and then y'all struggle, and then y'all are spinning, so then nobody knows anymore because y'all were wearing the same thing. Who's the real husband? Who's the fake husband? And you're over, You know, you're just running around, grabbing the gun, knocking the gun out of each other's hands. And then, you know, there's some bounty commercials in the middle because this is a Lifetime movie. But then you pick up the gun and you're like, get out of my home, stay away from my family, right? And then the imposter goes, ah, and then runs up to you and y'all hug one last time. The gun goes off and nobody can tell who was shot until what is it? Until the Nair commercial. You know, like Nair, that one, like... I've watched a lot of Lifetime with my mom and my aunt. And so then they come back from commercial and y'all are both backing up and you're like, somehow in a movie, whenever somebody has been shot and someone shot someone, they both react the same. I always find that very annoying. The person that pulled the trigger is like, but then the person who was shot is like, And then y'all back up. The gun falls. It falls in the middle. We don't need it anymore. One of you was shot. And everybody's backing up, and then you see some blood. You see blood, and then you see blood because y'all were hugging when it happened. So whoever got shot also bled on the other person. So it's been about 5 minutes, and we still don't know who was shot. Very frustrating. And then finally, one of you goes, you'll always be my family. And the other one turns around and looks at you. And the wife and the kids go, Dad! And hug them. And then credits start rolling. The picture gets a little bit smaller because they got to roll the next movie right next to the other movie. So it's like it gets that little half-size thing where the credits are rolling, which actually sort of ruins the end of the movie in case there was any other note of anything that the director wanted. But anyway, and through the credits, through the little tiny half screen, you see the person hugging the family look up at the camera and go, an identity is never stolen that way. It's always stolen in relation to your bank account. No, because that's who you are. That's who you are to the bank, and that's who you are to any business entity is your money and the number that you are. You know. Now look, I would like to think that everybody knows that everyone's more than that, but that is how you break down. That's how you're calculated. You know what I mean? You're moved around as a number, and the numbers that make up the numbers you have are how people see you. You know? So when you get your identity stolen, it's not because they actually stole who you are. They stole who you are in a version of how people see you for your money. Having your identity stolen is terrifying because you don't know when you'll get out from under this. It's you. It's you. But the bank doesn't know that. You might as well show up to the bank like you just got home to see your wife and kids and there is an imposter next to the bank teller's booth right with you. Y'all might as well be shoulder to shoulder. Like, no, I'd like to make a deposit. No, I'd like to make a deposit. Because you also have to factor in what that money doesn't just do to the person, what it does to the people around them. Some of y'all may not remember this. I barely remembered it until I started just reading about people who had won the lottery and what usually happens. Because there's this myth that everyone that wins the lottery goes bankrupt and ruins their life. It's not actually true. It's about half. Which are better odds than winning the lottery. And the difference between the people who crash out and the people who do well are the decisions they make as soon as they win. And now it's almost down to a science. There are people who are financial advisors that seek out lottery winners to help them because they've done it for other lottery winners and stuff. But there was this one woman. It was crazy. This happened in the 90s. I think it was 1990, right? This woman was a server, and she got tipped a lottery ticket. And so she, put that lottery ticket in, and she won. She won $10 million. And then everyone around her turned. The people who were also on shift with her, they tried to sue her. Because I don't know if this is one of those restaurants where, sometimes you work as a server and everyone's tips are pooled together and then you split them at the end of the night. Or if it was just that they were saying that was their table. I don't know what all the lawsuits were, but I also know that the man who tipped her the ticket tried to sue her. Yeah. Her ex-husband even kidnapped her. And she had to shoot him in the chest. The chest is one of the wildest places to get shot. Because there's still some plausible deniability there, but you know where you were aiming. And then the IRS came for her, walls closing in all around money. Because people will do crazy things for money, and people will let the idea of money shape how they treat a person, Money is only second to people in the idea of something that's in front of you that means a bunch of different things. People can mean the whole range of emotions to you, but so can money. If someone won $10 million, if they won $1.8 billion, some people see that as money, but a lot of people see that as hope. They see it as power. They see it as like a salvation out of their problems. They see it as whatever your imagination can mold. Because there are some people that if you got given $1 billion right now outright, there's so much good you do with it. And then there are other people that if you got $1 billion tonight, you'd be like, oh, I have some things to revisit. $1 billion. $1 billion means, you could buy everything around a person. You could buy everything around. Imagine for $1 billion, you could hire a private investigator to find your high school bully. All right. Because let's say they're not on, maybe they're not on social, not everybody is. And so you hire this private investigator to find your high school bully. And maybe this bully gave you like a really catchy, mean nickname, Maybe it was something that happened to you, something real bad. Maybe you got sick at school one day and maybe you didn't make it to the bathroom, right? And so he called you Wet Willie for 4 years, right? In this scenario, your name is Willie. And you hire this private investigator to track him down. Maybe his name's Travis, right? You find me Travis. And so then the private investigator says, hey, I found Travis. He's living in Connecticut, and he's married. And yeah, looks like they're pretty happy. And you're like, okay, this is good to know. And so, with your money, you buy the house that's for sale next to Travis. You're moving in one day, and Travis and his wife are walking in to their home, and you're moving one of the boxes. Nothing in the box. You don't need to move. You can pay people to move for you, but you're like, oh, hey. Travis? And he's like, oh, Willie, Will, wow, how have you been? wow, this is crazy. Are you? Yeah, I'm moving in. Right next to you. That's crazy. That's crazy. He's like, yeah, that is. Wow. This house has been on sale for months. And now it's, what a coincidence. And you're like, yeah, a coincidence. Yeah, that's what it is. And you see that not only do you have this nice house in front of you, but, ooh, Travis has a phenomenal house, you know? There's an HOA, so they're pretty similar, but overall, very big and very nice, you know? And right then, Travis's wife walks up, Susie. Susie walks up, and she's like, hey, babe. And then he's like, hey, what? Me and William went to high school together. This is my wife, Susie. And you're like, oh, hi. Nice to meet you. You shake her hand, and you're like, wow, this is crazy to just, you move to a new place, and you don't know, usually you don't know anybody, and now I got pals right next door. And Travis is like, yeah, this is wild, man. You should come over for dinner sometime. Come over for dinner. And you're like, oh, wow, how's tonight? And Travis, because this is the thing about bullying. A lot of bullies don't remember what they did. And even if they remember what they did, they remember it in the context of whatever they were going through. And so even if they were like a mean kid, they just remember being a mean kid because other stuff was happening. I don't know how often real bullies think about the fallout of their bullying and what it might have done to somebody present day, So maybe Travis is perfectly pleasant. Easy to believe. It's been a long time, And so he's like, yeah, I think... no. Okay, we do have a little date night tonight, but how about tomorrow? Tomorrow night, we should have dinner. You just come over to our place. We'll cook for you. And you're like, wow, yeah, Travis, it sounds great. All right, I'll see y'all later. You take your empty box. Walk into your new house with no furniture in it. But you don't need furniture. You're here for revenge. The type of revenge that only money can buy. And you're so excited, you don't even know if you can sleep. And so you lay on the floor of your brand new house. Because hate makes you comfortable. And then the next day comes, right? The next day comes, and you've had a private investigator on Travis for a while. You even had a private investigator on Susie. You already know her name. And so the next day, during the day, you go over to Susie's workplace. Susie works at a salon, right? And so you go over and you're like, hey, what? This is crazy. Wow. Susie, neighbors, and then I need a haircut? You do hair? Wow. You get Susie to give you a haircut, and when you're getting a haircut, when you're getting the wash, the shampoo, the conditioner, and everything, there's time to talk. You get to know a person. Or pretend to, because you already hired a private investigator. So you land in the sink and y'all are chatting it up, and you're a personable enough individual, so y'all are cackling back and forth. And then at the end, Susie puts the mirror in front of your face, and you're like, wow, a magician. Truly incredible. Thank you so much. And then you go to pay, and then you put a $10,000 tip on your haircut. Susie's floored. What? I can't accept this. You absolutely can. I haven't felt this good in years. You made me look like a new man. In fact, I don't know, like, I'm sorry, I never do this, but like, are you doing anything after work? And Susie's like, yeah, the dinner that we have. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's right. But, okay, I don't know, it looks like salon's closing up and everything. Dinner wasn't gonna be for a little while. I don't know, do you want to hang out for a little bit? We're gonna end up chatting anyway. Let's just chat. Let's just have a chat, and then, we'll head over to your place. And you're like, does that sound okay? And she's like, yeah, I guess so. It's fine. Yeah, I'll close up here. And then you're like, okay, yeah, hop in my car, right? And she hops in your car. It's very nice. It's ridiculous. It's whatever car is nice for the period we're in. So just imagine. Imagine the type of car, and it is that. And Susie's also impressed. She's like, wow, okay, you must have done very well for yourself. And you're like, yeah, I do all right. Because then, no matter what car it is, I assume it goes fast, right? And then he's like, actually, I know I'm new to the neighborhood and everything, but can I show you something? And she's like, yeah, sure, okay. And you drive. You end up driving to this like little patch of land that's off by the wayside, and there's a small little airfield there, and you park, and Susie's like, what is this? And you're like, oh yeah, I got a call, it was a text while you were doing my hair and everything, and there's just something I have to check out over here, so let's just walk through. And you walk through this little air hangar, and it's to your private jet. And she's like, wow, you have a jet? And you're like, yeah, I do. I mean, I guess it's a false alarm. There's nobody that needed anything. Yeah, nobody's even here. I tell you what. How about this? I know we're supposed to have dinner tonight at your place, but why don't we go to Paris? She's like, Paris? You're like, oh, I'm sorry, do you prefer Milan? We can go to Milan. What are you even saying right now? I'm like, oh, no, I'm just saying, we're supposed to get dinner. Let's have dinner. We can have dinner without Travis. And then she's like, oh. I don't know what to say. What is the tip? And then now he's invited. I'm married. No, I know. I don't know. Now? Yeah, now. Actually, you know what? And then the stairs. Wow, my heart is just skipping a beat. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go. And you're like, great. And so then you both hop on the jet and taxiing and everything. And just before takeoff, you send Travis an audio message of the entire thing. You add a little something at the end. You're like, this is from Wet Willie. Because now you have $1 billion, and you could be good, or you could So, because that is how bad things are now. We used to make fun of people that play the lottery, and now it seems like a sound fiscal decision. It sounds like a sound business plan to save a little money, put a little away, and buy some lottery tickets. Just, it's either buy some lottery tickets or, lean in front of a BMW. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta lean in front of a BMW, coming at about, slowing down, so hopefully about 12 miles per hour. You know what I mean? Enough to do some damage, but not quite kill you. You know what I mean? Like when you get hit, it's gonna make that sound. You're gonna hear some stuff. Some of that stuff's gonna be you, and some of it's gonna be the car. You might even lose consciousness for a second, but you will, hopefully wake up and... There's some real technique to it, too. I don't know if you saw that video. There's a dude who you could tell he was too... you could tell he was too nervous. He shouldn't have done this. And not just because it's fraud. He shouldn't have done this because you could tell his heart wasn't in the grift. You know what I mean? His heart wasn't in it. Like, some people, the grift is who they are. They buy into the grift completely. When I was a little kid, my elementary school teacher got into a fender bender, right? And got in a fender bender with this dude and bumped him just enough to get a little bit of separation, but you could tell that she had hit him. And he immediately got out of his car, went into the trunk, pulled out a neck brace, and laid on the ground, right? Which, if you're gonna do that, just wear the neck brace the whole time. Then you'll even convince the person that, I'm not gonna tell you how to grift, but... So if you're gonna do this, you gotta commit. You gotta know long before this BMW takes that turn at the intersection that this is what you're committed to do. And there's a video of this dude. This still cracks me up, right? Okay, so this dude is over here, and you can tell he wants to jump in front of the car. Maybe he has the whole insurance scam planned out and everything, can sue, whatever. You just gotta let a BMW hit you and hope it's not a rental. Yeah. Oh, nothing would make you madder than getting hit by a broke person. And so then it's over here waiting, right? And like just from the CCTV, because this is how I watched it, right? Just from the CCTV and the clip, you can tell that there's some nervousness in the knees. Like the knees don't scream commitment. You know what I mean? Like they're not, his feet aren't amped to do it. They're not like hoppy feet. You know what I mean? Like this is like, ooh, I'm gonna do some fraud. Ooh, you about to get defrauded. Right? But he had more of a, oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right. And you could tell he was thinking too much about how he was gonna land. That's the problem. Because you gotta know, if you're gonna jump in front of a car, you gotta know, okay, am I gonna be mostly grill or mostly windshield? All right? Both have their drawbacks. All right? Now, grill will push you forward. It'll push you forward an amount that will make you look dead to a bystander. So that is a good way to go if you try to do this with witnesses, and witnesses who are not in cahoots with you, right? Windshield is very dramatic, right? Windshield is very theatrical. Usually when you see, they do a lot of windshields on like Law and Order SVU. That's usually, like when somebody running from the cops and they can't seem to catch them. They give them just enough room for them to run out of the streets for the cop who didn't feel like running to hit them with the cop car.
It's always very convenient when it's like 3 cops and then 2 of them run after the suspect and then one of them is like, oh, all right. And then sure enough, they're always there at the right time to just bow, right? Now, if you're gonna go windshield, just know that some glass could crack, okay? And it's worse if it doesn't. If the glass doesn't crack at all, you got hit by a big bullet, okay? But if the glass cracks and you roll over the glass and maybe you land on the side of the car, that also looks very bad. But depending on how you hit the windshield depends on how believable the hit is. Because when you get hit by the grill, you're just taking the hit, right? Just boom, boom. High risk of being hurt. Very high risk. Windshield looks a little bit more, oh no. Ooh, you got me. Oh, what will I do, right? Because you can't really control your body as it gets hit and it's on the windshield. So you hope you go over the windshield. That looks like a very bad hit. But if you stay on the windshield, it starts to look like your fault even if it wasn't. Like it's just, the optics aren't great. And if you slide off to the front, it looks like you didn't get hit fast at all. And so you see this dude, okay, oh, all right. And then he goes for it. But not only did I see him in the clip, in the CCTV video, you know, like thinking about it too hard. The person in the BMW also saw him thinking about this very hard. And it didn't help that he chose to do this at an intersection, which means they were going to be slowing down anyway. And so then he finally goes to jump into the street, and they've already come to a short stop because they saw him coming. But look, he's already put a lot of thought into this. He will not be denied. And so even though the car is almost at a full stop, he goes, obviously the claim didn't go far. But you could do that, or you could play the lottery. You know what I mean?
Because I really do hope that the person or the people that win, like have a good life and do something well with it. There's so many scams now. Sometimes if the person's identity is known, that's actually what like ruins their life, because then there are scammers who will never meet this person, don't know this person, but then they will masquerade as them online, hitting up people around this person, trying to get whatever private information so they can scam that other person, not even the lottery winner, you know? And it's why people have become more savvy. Now you have lottery winners all over the world, not just in the US, and not just for like the Powerball, Mega Millions or any of that. Now you have lottery winners in the US show up with like a ski mask on. So many lottery winners look like they're there to rob the lottery. You know? And I don't know, I just look at the lottery as like maybe one of the best metaphors we have for how America is. You know, because you know, we all participate. That money is pooled together, and it is, and I don't mean in terms of ownership, I just mean in terms of how the money came to be there. It is all of our money. It is all of our money pooled together for 1 to like 6 people to have. In fact, sometimes you'll watch the lottery. You'll watch someone win and you'll be like, huh, wow, I worked at a company like that. That's crazy.
Because some of what the lottery of trying to make it in America is like is luck. We like to think it's hard work, because then that means everybody could do it. But it's not actually the case. I know people who have worked hard my entire life, and they were on a hamster wheel. They were on a treadmill, and they were just trying to keep up because somebody was pressing the speed up on the hamster wheel. That's what it feels like is happening to everybody right now. You know, you're doing your best, and the speed just keeps... And then, you know, some people are on a treadmill where the speed just keeps getting increased. Some people, look, to their credit, they have some golden handcuffs. Maybe they're doing a little bit better than everybody, but the margins that they live in are just as thin. And so they're on like a Stairmaster. They're up higher than the people on the treadmill, but, you know, they still run the risk of falling off at any given point. And so the other person's running as hard as they can. This person's stepping as high and as fast as they can. Because if they can skip a step, it's not going to keep them good forever, but it'll keep them level for a while. And so everybody's working as hard as they can. People who make six figures are still thinking, I don't really have enough to get by. That sounds crazy to anybody who's living off of less than 50K, somewhere where the standard of living, you need to be at like 80K. There are people scraping to get by. And so rather than just accepting that this gym sucks, people just keep going as hard as they can until they either their heart gives out or they end up in one of those like fail videos. Because look, it's $1 billion. It's a billion. That's a lot. And I know it's the lottery, and I'm just making an example. I'm not specifically speaking to everyone to like go run up to the lottery office or something. Like that's not what I'm trying to say. I think that we have let the lottery basically become one of the better ways to get ourselves out of a mess, you know? And it only gets you out of the mess. Maybe you can bring some people along with you. That's nice. That is nice. But you don't know everybody. You know what I mean? Like, you know your friends and your family, and that'd be very sweet for you to take care of your friends and your family, but you don't know everybody, and you don't know everybody's intentions. You don't know what everybody's going to do with the money. You don't even know if giving some of these people the money is the best thing to do. You have no idea. And maybe it's why, speaking outside the lottery now, maybe it's why like people shouldn't be able to amass that level of wealth. Not because I want to take from somebody the thing that they have for whatever reason. Maybe they really did earn it. I don't see how, but like maybe they really did earn it. Maybe they deserved every like $50 million bonus that they ever gave themselves, right? Maybe they know their heart and they know that they really deserve this money. But maybe you know, they laid off a bunch of people and they bought a bunch of stock back and they did some stuff to do some stuff to get some stuff, you know? And so I'm just saying is, you know, it's one thing when it's a lottery, it's a different thing when it's like our entire, you know. Because then they wonder, I don't know. Then they wonder, they're like, why is everybody so mad at us? It's like, oh, you can't not really get it. That seems crazy. And look, don't get me wrong. I'm an American. I would love $1 billion. It's probably part of the problem.
Oh my God, it's Josh Johnson!
All right. It is so wonderful to be here. Thank y'all so much for having me, and Happy New Year. You know, it's we're doing another New Year. It's funny. Okay, it's hard to know who to say Happy New Year to, because some people already seem like they're not having a great one. Like, you'll see somebody and be like, I'm gonna let this one go. Being here for New Year's was great. I went with my girlfriend and some friends, and we had a great time. And then it was midnight, and so a little while after midnight, about like 12:03. I don't know if you can tell from looking at me, but I'm not like fun. So 3 minutes after midnight, I was like, oh, okay, I think I'm gonna go home. And so I started walking home. And one of the wildest things about a new year is that it sneaks up on you in a way that you would think stops happening. As you get older, you're like, you're not gonna get me this time. I'm gonna be ready for you. And then it's over. And there's a whole nother year. And there's things you wish you could leave behind in the new. You didn't have time to like fix who you were for the new year. Whenever they say like new year, new me, it's two sides of that coin. It's a new year. The year did its part. Now you have to be a new person. There's so many things you wish you could leave behind. Like, it would be great if a new year meant there were just no more bad habits. Like, the bad habits melted off. They were like 2025 things. And now in 2026, you just don't even think to do those things anymore. That's not one of your habits at all. I was walking back to the Airbnb, and I saw this guy crossing paths with me. And I was, in my head, I was like, maybe I should say Happy New Year. The year's 5 minutes old. I was even about to say it, but as I'm passing this guy, as we cross paths, I just hear this guy to himself go, no, 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 no. And holding his stomach so tight. No, 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 no. And I knew he wished he could have left it in 2025. I've been having a great time eating here, because y'all forget, y'all take for granted. I don't even know everyone in here, but I know what I'm saying is true. You take for granted that your food is food. And like, your food is food. I live in the US. I live in America, where the food is food shaped. One thing I will say for the food in America, it will always be the shape of food that you're expecting. And we've come out with new shapes. We have new shapes for food. You'll want chicken. Let's have some chicken. Great, we've made a chicken nugget for you. Okay, I'm still familiar with those. Will it be like a little clump of meat with some breading around it, grilled up, or will it be deep fried, nice and delicious? No, this one will look like a dinosaur. Is it dinosaur meat? No, it's chicken. Or at least we say it's chicken, but it's dinosaur-shaped meat. All the food will be the right shape it's supposed to be, in the shape of the food that you think you're buying. But when you eat it, you're like, you got me. This isn't food. We literally have a show where we shape all manner of things and ask the question, is this cake? That should give you an indication of what the food is like. All the food here is like food. And don't get me wrong, you have your junk food. You do. You have plenty of your own junk food, and that's very cute, okay? I've had this conversation, I've even had this argument with plenty of Australians, and they'll be like, no, we have our unhealthy food. I'm like, no, that's not what I said. That's not what I was talking about. You have your junk food, which is it's a fascinating attempt at junk food. But that's like telling an American that you also have junk food is like meeting LeBron and being like, I play too. Like, you can't even begin to understand the levels of junk food we have reached. We are the king. And not to come over here and tell you that America's better at something and be a real American about it, but like we are very good at junk food. We're so good, we're dying. We're dying in droves. We can't stop dying, but we also can't stop eating because we went in the lab and we were like, they won't be able to say no to this concoction. Your food is like food. That's crazy. Full food. Like it has, like you can feel nutrients hitting. You can feel, okay, look. I know this is a bad example, but you know like when somebody does drugs on TV and then because they don't have enough time to show what actual drug use looks like, or maybe they don't want to, they make it look like drugs happen like that, like immediately, like someone does the drug and then they're like, oh, like it's... Okay, that is what your food is like when I'm eating it. I'm like, that is what wow. I had steak here. I had steak. And I felt like, after I ate the steak, I felt like I could fight. Not as in I was angry. I felt like I knew how. Because so much protein had gone into my body. And like actual protein, not the protein that we put out. Because in the US, we have lots of protein. We love making everything protein packed. Protein will make up for how much sugar we also put in the thing. So then we'll have protein on protein on protein. So if you eat this, that's all your protein for the day. And you want to be big and strong, don't you? And then you eat that protein and then they'll make a commercial a couple months later where they're like, hey, did you eat this protein? We're so sorry. That was poison. That was like actual rat poison that we put in there. It was the same color as our protein mix. And so you understand how mistakes get made. But here I was eating, wow. Whoa. In the U.S., we have foods that you don't have here that are like junk food, but we also have flavors that y'all don't have here because you have like laws out of self-respect, and so the law here, it'll be against the law to bring that flavor here. Someone, and I don't even know if they're here, then congratulations to you, more power to you. But I imagine they're not even here. Someone from a long time ago was like tasting things from other places, and then they were like, "That's good. No, what's that? Oh, that's great. Yeah, bring that." And then they had some flavors from the U.S. and they must have died. They must have promptly died because you don't have those flavors here, and they're like illegal to bring here. But we love them in the U.S. A child's favorite flavor won't even be a flavor that you're thinking of. You'll think of something like spice. You might even think of a seasoning. Like, oh, paprika. A little bit of pepper. Oh, this is so good. No, I'm not. You're talking about like seasoning from food. You're used to food. It's not what I'm talking about, right? I'm talking about flavors that you could never imagine because they don't exist in nature, because they're not real. Use your imagination. I'm talking about flavors that don't make any sense. You will talk to a child in the U.S. and their favorite flavor is blue. I don't mean blueberry. I don't mean a natural, the hot pink but blue color that's usually just on posters for movies. That will be the color of a food, and that color has a flavor, and that will be that child's favorite flavor because they've never been introduced to food. And then, as someone from the U.S., as an American, you travel, and you find out that we have this horrible reputation for being like loud and boisterous, dumb stuff. And I don't care where you're from, everyone has at least some shred of national pride where they want to be like, no, we are not. I am not the worst of us that you may have met. Right? Everyone has that thing. And so you're inclined, when you hear these rumors about the U.S., you're inclined to be like, no, I read all the time. I read and I'm perfectly easy to get along with and everything. What would make you think that we're what would make you think that we're this way? And then they'll tell you a story that once you hear it, you can tell that they're telling the truth. They'll tell you a story. that breaks your heart a little bit. They'll tell you about meeting like a nice American family that actually were, well-behaved, perfectly pleasant people, but they seemed a bit dumb. And you're like, why are you judging them? That's a prejudice that you think they're dumb. And then they'll tell you, oh, well, we had a conversation and, the mom and the dad were perfectly nice people, but then we turned and, the child was trying to get his mom's attention and we said hello. And he said hello. And then, they were talking. And the kid was looking up and saying, Mommy, can I have something? And then we asked the kid, oh, yes, what would you like? What's your favorite? And the child was like, my favorite flavor is blue. And as soon as you hear that, you're like, yep, that definitely happened. That 100% happened. We make attempts at food. We still have the fruits and vegetables for sale in the U.S. They're there. You can buy, if you went, you could buy them. You would see them there. And you would even think, oh, this is just, you would walk in to a grocery store and you'd be like, this is just like a Kohl's. Look, it's basically a Woolworths. And then you'll bring the produce home and you'll eat it because they can't fool you forever. And you'll take a bite of like a blueberry. I remember when I had my first blueberry of this trip and my first blueberry in Australia, period. Because I've been several times now. And I had my first blueberry and I was like, wow, whoa. It makes you want to strangle someone for keeping the secret of blueberries from you. Everybody walking around all nonchalant. Smiling, acting like the blueberries here aren't good. I see you keeping secrets. You thought you could get it past me? I had a blueberry here and I was like, jeez. What is, oh, wow. Did that thing where you don't want the food to be over. I did that weird thing where, I bought several blueberries. I didn't buy just one blueberry. So it's like, I don't know why I was like Oliver twisting it, but like it bought this blueberry and then I was just... I was scared to have another one. Because I was like, what if that was the best blueberry? What if that one was the best though? And the next one is going to taste like the ones I'm used to. I had another one, and the other one was crispier. It was tighter. Because this is the thing. This is what's crazy that you take for granted. Y'all put your produce out when it's like ready. Don't let the U.S., anyone in the U.S. but me, I'm the only one your secret is safe with. Don't let them come over here and find out that you put out the avocado when it's ready. That's not what's happening in the U.S. I'll tell you about it in a second. But the blueberry, it was tight. It fought me a little. I put blueberry in my mouth and tried to start chewing. Blueberry over here being coy. It was like, No. What are you doing? Okay. That's not what's happening. In the U.S., you have a blueberry, and it is blueberry shaped. They play a mean game. It's blueberry shaped. It's even, you pick it up, it's even blueberry weight, and then you pop it in your mouth and you start chewing, and you're like, this is a nipple. There's no way that it has no give to it. I'm still chewing. This is crazy. The avocados here. The fact that you can buy it and say you could eat it that day. You could not. You could save a day. In the U.S., we do a thing with our avocados where we put them out as if they're gonna be food. And then it's a lottery that you can't possibly win of which avocado will be a ripe avocado. Because there are some avocados where you feel it and you're like, okay. And then there's the little test you can do. Like, oh, if you press, just give it a little bit of push with your thumb. And if it pushes too easy, it's a little bit overripe. And if it has no push, then you might as well give it a year. I've had a couple of avocados here where I can admit they were a little tough, but still they were like ready. It was like they were put out with some sort of care. But the avocados in the US, you buy one and you're like, all right, I like to gamble. Let's play. And then you bring it home and one of two things happens. Either you cut it with a knife and you open it up and you know how it has the seed in the middle. It will all be as hard as the seed, the whole seed. In fact, the first time I bought avocado in the US, I was like, I was living on my own and there were a bunch of foods and a bunch of produce that I had never tried until I was out on my own, right? And so I remember buying an avocado and bringing it back and trying to cut into this avocado. You would think I was cutting the kitchen counter because it not only did it have like no give to it, but by the time I was done, I had actually cut through the whole avocado because the whole avocado was as tough as the seed. Or the second thing will happen. The second thing, which is you bring the avocado home, you put it on the counter, and it disintegrates in front of you. It gets so soft in front of you that you go to cut it, and it's like, no need, and it opens up. And you see a tiny demon's face. A little whisper of vapor goes up. And you lost. No, never take for granted the food that you have. This is real food. Like I couldn't understand. I can understand being vegan in the U.S. because you probably should. Like I can understand being vegan in the U.S. because like being vegan in the U.S. is like a self-preservation because they're telling you. Sometimes they'll tell you, oh, we've actually loosened a bunch of regulations around what we can feed the animal. So, for instance, in the U.S., there are some pigs that are straight up fed sawdust to stretch the food that they are fed. So it's like sawdust, they cut it with whatever they're feeding them. So then when you eat it, you're like, oh, there's no wonder it tastes like splinters, you know? And here, y'all are like, oh, no, we should eat quality meat. And that quality meat, I have not been to a farm in Australia, but I've passed a couple, and it looks like a good life. I feel like it'd be very hard to be vegan here because you're eating good meat. This is very good meat, but all this meat has a story. Every burger could have its own, like, Babe trilogy. You know what I mean? That's what happens when you eat good meat and it's treated well. It tastes good because it was good. That was a good dude that you... Oh, he was courageous. He was good to his friends and everything. That's why meat's so supple, you know? In America, you're like, no, I could tell this meat also, it not only did it have a hard life, but it probably wasn't a good person either. Like this is, you could tell this chicken was racist or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, something. Even the animals has been an adjustment. I'm sure so many people come and visit and talk to you about like, oh, your animals. It's all terrifying. How do you do it? How do you get by with the fact that like everything can kill you? Y'all just don't care, you know. And it is weird what is after you here, you know. Like I saw a spider here. Don't do that. Don't do that. I saw a spider and it's crazy. This is backwards, by the way. Every science book in the US or fairy tale I've read goes the opposite of how it goes here. Because y'all's biggest spider that has like personality. Your biggest spider that's over here just floating in front of you and legs open. I don't know if this actually happened or if it happened out of fear in my head that I was filling in the blanks and stuff like that, but I could swear I heard it. It was in front of me. Yeah, I mean, like it had a chuckle like an uncle. You know? That one you don't need to worry about. Y'all will walk up to that one, let it crawl in your hand, open a door, and toss it out. That's crazy. I need to understand how opposite of every law of human fear that goes against. Meanwhile, the smallest, the tiniest, not even worth mentioning. Little, you could barely see it. That's the one that bites you and you explode. You. I've watched it happen. I was watching this nature documentary, and this dude, it's funny because maybe it wasn't a nature, actually, okay, to be fair, that was, I don't know, it was probably, I don't know if racist is the right word, but it was probably bigoted of me to be watching this Australian guy talking and see spiders and assume it was a nature documentary. He may have just been living his life, but like, there was a huge spider. There was a huge, it was in his face too. And the cameraman was following him, and it caught right up to him because he turned and it was right there, right? And it was over. Right? And then he went and then moved out of the way. They kept walking. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know he was the bravest man that ever lived. And then this is like maybe like 10 minutes later in the doc. He's talking. I don't even remember what he was talking about, but he's talking. And then he goes, ah! They move, they zoom in. He moves out of the way. The tiniest, barely worth mentioning, smallest spider is smeared on the wall, and then the camera goes back to him, and he's like, I was like, this doesn't make any sense at all. This is completely unfair. Oh, this is sad. Even from what I've seen, like this kangaroo situation. Why didn't you warn anybody? Why didn't you tell anybody? Every single kangaroo has been to jail. Every single one of them. Why are y'all acting? Y'all exported the idea of kangaroos like they were just this fun little animal that loved to hop back on its tail and box a little. That was bad on your part. You should take some responsibility for that. I'm not gonna lie. That can't be our fault that we all thought that they all smiled. Like, that's every picture of a kangaroo ever. The mom smiling, the little one popping out of the pouch like... Meanwhile, you come to Australia and the kangaroos are over here. Every kangaroo looks at you like you just said something you shouldn't have said about its mother. That's insane. You didn't tell anybody that they had claws. This is... Because y'all love to play these pranks on people who come visit. You love to talk about, like, drop bears and all this stuff like that. Y'all, forget the drop bear. You already did it with the kangaroo. Americans are going to come over here like, oh, there's one. Give me a high five, throat out. Nobody told us how strong these things were. The first time I even saw a kangaroo that was like real, that was like a, you know what I mean? Like the kangaroo, the way that y'all would see a kangaroo and keep driving. That one of those kangaroos, the first time I ever saw one was the one thing that you let slip. The one video you let slip to the rest of the world. The one. Where that guy, his dog was with the kangaroo. You didn't tell us that kangaroos love drowning dogs. That sounds like an attribute you'd want to get out there. Imagine if America just sent out an animal into the world, like an American, like, cow, right? An American cow, this is a prime American cow right here. And we just let people come see it. And just never told them details that would be very important to know if you were going to meet a cow. Imagine if we were like, oh yeah, cow, yeah. You can go pet them if you want. Oh, by the way, they do stand up, so. Just be mindful of that, you know, when you walk up to them and everything. No, this kangaroo's over here. Kangaroos love to drown dogs. As a friend, let me help you with something. I understand that you are used to these wild and dangerous animals, but some aspects of what they like to do are deeply troubling. And so for you to not communicate first that the kangaroo, which we only know through y'all, loves to drown dogs. Do better, all right? Imagine if I had a friend who I was introducing you to, right? This is Stefan. Stefan's my buddy. I think you two will get on great. And then, years later, I'm like, oh, by the way, Stefan loved to drown dogs. I think it would change how you feel about Stefan. But anyway, this kangaroo got the dog. And it's like, oof, what a great day. I'm about to do what I do best. And then this guy walks up, and I didn't know, okay, because of how the video played out, I don't actually know or understand how big this man is. Because he walks up to the kangaroo, and the kangaroo is like, that's odd. Usually people see me do this and they run away. And he walks up, must be his dog, or maybe he just doesn't want to see murder that day. And admittedly, the first video that I saw was on silent, so I don't know if he yelled anything or not, but he definitely had the posture and the shoulders of somebody who might have been yelling, which I didn't know that kangaroos understood English, but yelling, yelling, yelling. And then kangaroo sort of bows up a little bit. And then you saw it. He punched that kangaroo in the face. Punched the kangaroo in the face, and the kangaroo went. This has never happened to me before. And I'm just saying, like, as a species that boxes, he should have covered. You know what I mean? Like, he should have seen it coming. From memory, it was just a straight left. He should have been able to dodge that. Oh, got all these animals. I got one. This is the other issue that y'all have. I don't know if you can do anything about this, but this is just me noticing, okay? Slight critique. A lot of the animals that you have here that are adorable and love to murder for fun are covered in fur that makes them that much more adorable. So you'll see like a wombat and you'll think, friend? Hey, buddy. Hey, how are you? And then also, no one told you. You look at a koala. Once again, y'all just like let stuff slide. That should be the first thing you hear about this animal. You see a koala and you're like, wow, this is the white people panda. This is truly incredible. Look at this adorable animal. Look at it sleeping. Loves bamboo, I think. I don't know. I went to a outdoor, I don't know what you would even call it, because it wasn't like a national park or anything, but we went to this place that had koalas just chilling in the trees, and you could walk by and take a little picture of the koala and keep walking and everything. And I saw this koala turned and looked at me. And I was like, oh. It was like melting my heart, genuinely. I was like, oh. It was like meeting a dry penguin. It was like, oh, this is happening right now. Oh, this is, I've seen it in books and now it's here. And then as soon as it turned to me, it was like, why? It's the people of Australia. With all of your tourism efforts and with all of the digital footprint of koalas, did you not warn anyone that animal is a person living under a spell cast by a witch? It's the only way to describe what I heard. But it's just normal. I'll tell you one thing. I used to live in Chicago, and I'll tell you about this night that I had. It's not the whole night. It's more just as in one instance where I used to do these open mics all over Chicago. I would go anywhere that there was an open mic. And I would do these like what they would call like mixed open mics as well, where it was like music, comedy, magic. You could do anything. And then I would go to the comedy open mics. And then every once in a while, if it was a storytelling open mic or maybe poetry, I'd ask, like, I would tell them, I would warn them that I was going to do comedy. I wouldn't just act like the whole thing was a poem. And then they would let me up, usually. Every once in a while, it'd be places like, no, we only do this thing, whatever. It's fine. But I remember going to this part of Chicago I had never been to before. And I was still